Bam! Let's do this. Going live. Welcome to the show, everybody. Oh yeah, Pro Se Lawsuit Center. Yeah, that's the name that my new marketing people picked. That actually matches what we do, so people can understand what's going on right here, right now. Welcome to the show. I'm Coach Neighbors, and we're talking about we was gonna talk about stopping the process and some other stuff that I had. But this other thing that came up, we have a couple of our attorney guys that, well, when I first met them, they said they were about to be disbarred. But I told them all they need to do is get the bar card off the. Okay, so anyway, so these guys have been helping people for real, and they came up. We got to share this. Okay, so what would happen if you could take over the name of the lender in your state? Is your lender legally allowed to sue you for, well, we already know the answer to that question, but let's just say this is your first time around the neighborhood. So, okay. What if they weren't properly registered to do business in your state? In this jaw-dropping live stream, we're going to uncover how one attorney, and because I don't have a whole lot of nice things to say about attorney. Well, actually, it's two of them. Well, there's three, but the third one I hung up on because he had his head in the wrong place. Okay, sorry. Okay, so they uncovered this, helping somebody. I don't know. All I know is that so we're gonna uncover how these guys flipped the foreclosure game by registering the lender's business name. And we're going to talk about what happened next. Okay, so what happened next was was that the lenders decided they wanted to file a foreclosure against the new owner. Oh, well, had to be the lenders, the attorneys, the alleged lenders. Because the homeowner across the street would have known that that Anthony and his people over here were doing that. So I don't know what to, So okay, so we're gonna ask. I'm hoping they make it to the stream tonight, and we're gonna ask them about how to chat to see if your lender's even legit. How to respond if they sue you, and what the federal strategy would be using to shut down the court process. Now, we already know what our strategy is with shutting down the court process and stuff, but if they're going to sue you, then that opens the door. You're fighting foreclosure, or you just want to wait for them to take you home. No, these guys decided that they're going to check the legality of the lender situation to see if they're even registered to do business in the state. Now, that's, on one hand, it's pretty simple. On the other hand, it's pretty powerful. On the powerful hand, it's pretty powerful because this is something that everybody can do. Okay, so everybody can do it. Okay, but what if you find out that the alleged lender's not registered in your state? Oh, what do you do then? File a complaint with whatever? Nope. If you roll without limitations, if you roll without limitations, you see a lot of other things that you miss when you're freaking out over there leaning against a tree, breathing into the paper bag. No offense to anybody that's doing that. Okay, maybe a little, because there's no, it's not necessary. I'm just reading my thing here. Hey, they're saying my stream is not public. Okay. Okay, so what do you do to check and see if the lender is legal in your state? Now, sometimes I'm checked here that I'm going live, but I don't have anybody that's if anybody's watching me tonight, send me a comment to let me know that you guys can see me, because sometimes these guys play games with and they're not real happy about this about the content that we're talking about tonight. So but okay, hang on a second. I got Josh here. Josh, let me. I'm trying to get you unmuted there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were muted there. Okay, I can hear you now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
And is this sounds like Josh? Or
You never know these days. Somebody, I don't know why they'd want to. I tell people, go ahead and steal my identity. You can't make it any worse.
Well, usually I'm like making that distinction if I'm working with. Well, it actually came up when I was working with a married couple, and so one of them was doing great, and the other one was trying to go down a different path, and so I had to make sure that who I was talking to, just in case, had to make somebody run laps. I didn't want to make the wrong people.
I think the path less traveled is the better path, but hey, a lot of people aren't brave enough to go down there.
You know what? I like that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I just did a little intro into the situation, and we're going to talk about some other stuff, but we're just going to put that on because my brain. We talked for a little while earlier today, and I know my brain is rolled. I got a few more things to add to the list. Okay, so how did you guys come up with this strategy, and how do you check to see if these lenders are alleged lenders are registered with the state?
Well, my boy Anthony is not an attorney, but boy, is he, he likes to call himself left-handed. Yeah, he's sort of like Forrest Gump. I mean, I remember Woodstock until he was like right there, right up at the stage, because he just was going from party to party, and he just heard they were having a party. So he showed up to the party. He didn't realize it was going to be one of the biggest parties ever in the history of parties. But then he was recently on YouTube looking, and he saw something about, unseen footage from Woodstock, and he clicks on it, and wow, it's him right there by the stage, a couple feet away from the stage.
So he's not an attorney. He's just like a crazy badass like the rest of us, huh?
He says he never picks fights with anybody. They always pick fights with him, but I don't know what it is. It's got a sign on his back, as they say, or whatever. But I mean, wow, everybody loves to start fights with this guy. I don't know why.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I ain't starting no fights with him because I tell you right now, this idea that he came up with, to however this came out, I think this. So, how do you check to see if the lender's registered?
Well, the state we were in, we are in. There's, usually I think, I'm only familiar with New York and now Florida, but I'm in New York. I'm an attorney in New York, and he was telling me, he's like, or somebody said, maybe somebody else that I work with was saying, they're not, you got to check to see if they're registered, and if they're not registered, then they can't be coming in and acting like as a plaintiff in your case. So we finally, we like to procrastinate probably more than most, which is saying a lot, but we finally went on the state, it's called Sunbiz in Florida. You go on and they have a thing where you just put in the name of whatever the plaintiff is using, and it'll show you, if you're trying to purchase the name, it'll tell you like, it's already taken. In our case, we put in the name, it wasn't taken, so we took it. And once we took it, he calls me yesterday and he says, you'll never guess what happened. I said, what happened? He said, I just had the sheriff banging on my door because somebody's suing, the company, because they're running around in Florida saying they're, this Wilmington Savings Bank, blah, 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 but they never registered. So, he gets this knock on the door from the sheriff in Florida, and they say, here's, this complaint against you. He's the registered agent. And it's like, it's a massive lawsuit. It's got to be over 1,000 pages of, stuff. And
well, the more stuff, the more it's trash, in my opinion, because you know how you said at the top is the less words.
Amen. But the attorneys are getting paid like by word. They don't really think that
If they win.
I mean, these guys just, I remember going out to dinner with a criminal attorney who said, he said, look at the page number, whatever. And I open it up and I look at the page, whatever, and there's nothing on that page. And there's, they just, that you impress your client. You just show them that you've done all this work and they pay you a ton of money to have done it. And it's just, it's all bullshit, as you know, and as your viewers know, it's all bullshit.
So why do you think it's not registered? Why do you think they're not registered? This is so I've been thinking. I got some other stuff. I got 3 or 4 things. Why do you think it's not registered? Why do you think they're not registered?
I'm interested to know what you think about that, because that's a great question. And why wouldn't you just go to? Well, I mean, I think that probably
it just came to me while we're talking.
Yeah.
Why? Well, actually, it came to me earlier, but in a different context. But it didn't put it all together. It's kind of like when we were talking earlier, and when I said, you can tell if you're in an administrative hearing because the judge, they're not going to provide a finding of facts or conclusions of law, which means that you don't have no appeal. Your appeal is trash. You don't have any appeal if you don't have those 2 things. Okay, so in my opinion, why they're not registered is because. And then you're gonna be like, okay, this dude, because they're doing fraud, they're acting illegally. For the same reason, the judge can't do the judicial stuff and give you a finding of facts or whatever because they're in an administrative hearing. So once you start out down in the poop, then that's where you got. You can do whatever you want down there, and it's still. And this is why I was saying that, in this situation where Tony did this and then they're trying to jam him up, we're coming up with some pretty good ideas to make their day miserable as hell. And you ain't even heard the latest ones. Okay. We just skip right to it. Okay.
You know how to do your thing, man. I'm like, I don't know how you say it, Cliff's Edge or something like that. Like, what the heck is this guy talking about? I need to.
Okay, so here. Okay, So if they're trying to send him uh, after Tony for registering the name, okay, I'm thinking right off the top, I'm thinking that he just need to give everybody back their property deeds because he's in charge of some stuff now, or they're gonna let him be sued. Give everybody back the property deeds and
Right.
just charge them $50 for the work and stuff that you're doing. And one more thing, you got to make sure they leave that they leave a video review for pro se pro se lawsuits.
Of course. Of
lawsuits.
course. I love it though.
And
Yeah.
just give everybody back their stinking deeds because that was one. That was the last. I was like, yeah, if you're the boss, or you could just shut everything down, cut your losses, and take the money and run. And then give everybody back their deeds because the deeds ain't worth anything to you. Okay, well, they are if you want to do what the state does and use people's property deeds illegally for loans and stuff against the federal government. But we came up with some other ideas too. If
I like the first one. I mean, yeah, like people want to return to their homes. That's the bottom line. These guys all kicked you out of your house, so they want to kick you out of your house, and they have no right to do so. So here's the key back.
And they need to have, and this is why the most important thing is getting your deed out of their office. If your deed was not registered in the office, in my opinion, and I'm not that smart, in my opinion, I wouldn't be able to verify that there was a lien against your property. If the deed was not, back in the day, you used to keep the deed in your Bible in the firebox or I don't know, wherever the hell. And if somebody wanted to like get on your shit, they'd have to come to the table with something that was signed and notarized prior to yours. You wouldn't need to break yours out. Nah, dude. You playing. Get on out of my yard. But now they got it all complicated and everything. And Darren Woods invested in my my mortgage fraud package a few years back. He was in Shelby County, Tennessee, and he was saving his grandma. He saved his grandma's house, and turns out that there were a lot of other properties that were being illegally sold and for a property tax. And Channel 5, Action 5 News, and you can go to YouTube channel and search the Action 5 News and he sent me the whole video clip. Oh, it's powerful. And Action 5 News in the end said that showed that these cities are selling people's properties in the land bank. Okay, so wait a minute. Now it takes a lot to get to the land bank. That's where So I've done my research, and every state has an association of deeds, a registration of deeds association, or sometimes the words are a little bit backwards, or whatever. In every state, and that state and that registration of deeds association, they're the ones that start the registration of your stuff. When they register your stuff in their computer, it goes out all over. In my opinion, all everywhere. Okay, so what am I talking about, Coach? It's crazy. Well, if you're in a non-judicial foreclosure, they tell you they're going to sell your property on its courthouse steps in 30 days, and they do. Oh, yeah. The government ain't going to be able to do that shit unless they already had it all lined up. Now, when you get done playing, okay, we talked a little bit about this, how to punch them back in the face. Anytime someone, we get to the fun part. Anytime somebody is going to file a lawsuit against me, I'm just going to do the counterclaim against them. That gets your money on the table, okay? And if you add the right people to it, if you add the government to it, you add the judge because the judge is paid by the government. So the judge ought to got a conflict at the gate. In addition to the judges getting a pension and some other stuff that I'm not supposed to be talking about.
That's the stuff we want you to talk about the most, dude.
And well,
the stuff you're not supposed to be talking about. That's why we come to your show to hear the stuff you're not supposed to be talking about.
Well, we're talking about it anyway. And so, yeah. So when you look at things from that perspective, it changes. Taking over, So if you take over their corporate charter, which I'm assuming that's kind of what that is, isn't it? I mean, I haven't done a lot of homework on that, but if they're sending you the thing, then I'd be doing the counterclaim against them for the fraud that they're doing and jamming there, because the first person that's dirty ain't got a chance in hell.
Right.
That's an easy way to look at it. The first person that's dirty don't have a chance in hell. And you could do a whole lot of things with that just because it's fraud. And then you could do the conspiracy thing to link these other people to it that don't want to be involved, that thought they had it,
Yeah, and I think this is definitely some dirty attorneys behind this thing that you go after them personally for fraud.
Well, no, I wouldn't go after them for fraud because I don't like that word. Because okay, so when you use that in court, they're the ones that set up the system that we're going by, and
Right.
so it they ain't gonna make it so you could get because you can kick their ass. They're gonna okay. So when you're talking fraud, you have to please 7 different things and connect all of those things to each
What if
whatever.
you do constructive fraud?
Well, you don't even need that. Okay, so what I like to use, okay, so number 1, fraudulent concealment is going to be my first choice at the beginning of that title because that legal doctrine, that federal legal doctrine tolls the statute of limitations.
Mm-hmm.
and nobody uses it as a cause of action. And so I'll be playing around with people. I'll be playing around with these attorneys, and I'll be like, so if I'm coming fraudulent concealment and y'all dismiss it, I just keep bringing it back, right? And then the Tucker's Act, violation of the Tucker's Act. Now, so the Tucker's Act, and so this is important because I don't think I really talked to you guys, but jamming their ass up with these acts as a cause of action is our way of bringing criminal liability to the table. Bam. Okay, so the Tucker's Act, the Tucker's Act strips the government players of their alleged qualified immunity. As nobody has, anyway, it strips them of their qualified immunity if they violate the Fifth Amendment or due process rights, or one of those two of the state citizens. And it's a federal law. And then the Foreign Agent Registration Act is another federal law that was passed, I believe, in 1937. And the Foreign Agent Registration Act requires foreign agents to register and provide all this information or whatever, and they don't. Judges, bar members are supposed to do that, and they don't. And that's a violation of, and the Administrative Procedures Act of 1946. Now, they say you can't get money for this one, but according to what they say, you can certainly use it to put yourself in a position that Tony's already in, so he wouldn't need to. He would put something else in there for that. The Administrative Procedures Act. The Administrative Procedures Act of 1946, and you have to put 1946 on it, or you're going to pull up Cornell Law Library watered down crap. Okay, the Administrative Procedures Act is a federal law, and it forces these corporations to have their policies and procedures in line with the Constitution. Bam, and they're not. And so those are some just, and there's a couple of more, and I didn't really have them all written down that we use for additional cause of action in front of the 42 USC. The conspiracy. Okay, we use that instead of the fraud because we don't need to plead the fraud. What we want to do is plead the tolling of the statute of limitation. That's pretty powerful right there. And then go in with the federal acts and the federal civil rights violations. And so this is the reason why our stuff and this stuff is, when I say our and we, it was from the real-time feedback, like you, and Tony and other people in the group. The real-time feedback helps us change and adjust this stuff to have it to be able to do what we need to do. So what are you guys going to do next?
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys thinking about doing with this situation?
I don't know, man. I think we can jam them up pretty good. We just got to. I got to do some research into exactly how to. You own the name. I mean, do you therefore own the company? I mean, I don't really know.
Well, I think the counterclaim for the foreclosure fraud
Yeah.
would be the
That's
first thing that I would do, because that crushes them. Okay, because they can't respond to federal case law with statutes and codes and their bullshit they're using.
right.
So it's going to be a wrap, and this allows you, to get some money on the table.
Yeah.
$200 million counterclaim, because they're the ones that's doing the fraud. You just did that to stop them because they was violating the law in the first damn place.
I like that number, 200 million.
Yeah, well,
That's a nice number.
You want to make them deliver your deed to your house, or somebody's deed to somebody's house.
Hell yeah, to a lot of people's houses.
Ooh, yeah, I like to, and don't forget about those reviews for pro se lawsuits. I appreciate you coming to the stream tonight, Josh.
I think we need to put some banners out of people's houses. Saved by Pro Se Legal School.
No, it's saved by them. Because I do the same thing for them I'm doing for you guys. I hide out in the corner. I ain't taking no credit for them. They pissed off enough at me.
We got to spread the word, man. This is how you hear about the shit you need to hear about to help yourself. It's not about necessarily marketing you. It's about telling people where they need to go to find out what they need to find out to set themselves free.
Okay, so welcome to the show, GT. Well, it does with them, and we I had a guy tell me, well, he's getting ready to do his deal. I know, man, you can't. If you speak up and let them know that you know what you know before you sign and before the time runs out that they can't take the deal back, they're going to say you're trying to get free shit, which is what they're doing, but that's what they're going to say.
Yeah.
That does take first priority. Welcome to the show, Real Estate Guru. Okay, Josh, I think that's kind of it for me. I don't think they put my stream out so everybody can see it, but that's all right, because we'll be back. We're gonna have another stream tomorrow. So,
amen.
Kind of shadow banning me and doing some things, but I use Spike, so anytime if I record for half an hour, I get 20 videos out of it. So they can either let my stream go, or I'll have 20 videos that are all shorts. They get between 6 and 1,000, 1,500 shots a day. So, we figure out a way to make things work. Thank you for coming to the show tonight, young man. I appreciate you taking the time out, you and Tony. And keep me posted what y'all decide to do, okay?
Of course. Amen, brother.
All right, buddy. Good night.
Take care.
Okay. Trying to get myself back here. Yeah, that was pretty fun. Yeah, I talked to those guys earlier, and they were kind of nervous because I know anybody get nervous when these attorneys show up with this big old thing, and But you know what? When it's fraud, the whole thing is fraud. You just need to figure out how to smash them in the face with it. So the whole thing is fraud. You just need to learn how to smash them in the face with it. But you can't do that if you're over there breathing in paper. Yeah. So I told them guys, and before we got to all of this, I did. You can do the counterclaim for RICO on their on them, and make sure that you that you hit them up for conspiracy. A conspiracy does a check down, and now they don't even have to, you do conspiracy. That's what they should do over there. They do the conspiracy. You ain't got to prove nothing. He saw them 9 years ago be born. Oh, okay. So then, and so, yeah, so now they're going to, have them go sue him because he's the registered owner now of the company. Well, I think you could take the deeds out of there and dissolve the company, take the money and run. Take the money and go sit down. I don't know. Give everybody their deeds back and have them email me over their Google review. Oh, their reviews. Okay, sorry. I'll post you guys stuff. I'm talking now. Real estate guru was yeah, we're a little fired up tonight. We've been a little fired up anyway. It's kind of nice. I'm at got a new office, and it's real quiet here. And there's no drama. It's real quiet, no drama. So, and the judge let me use this. Oh, Lewis. Oh, thank you. I appreciate your comments. I enjoy what I do. I can't believe I remember so much stuff, but I guess they say when you play football, you save your brain. But I did box, so when you box, you lose your brain. But I never been counting the lights. Okay, I ain't never been counting the lights. I'm glad that I could bring a little light to the table. Well, you kind of got that right. It's actually, if you want to be specific, the money was the alleged loan was generated with your signature. That's how that works. There wasn't any money. There was so Modern Money Mechanics is a publication put out by these people who know way more about this fraud stuff than I do. They said the bank is granted 9 times the amount that went into a demand deposit account. Like, holy cow, how good they So you did kind of, the money was generated with your signature. So you got that. You're right here. Down payment is lending. No, that's no. You did put up the money. The money was generated. Okay, let me explain to you how this works. And there's no lender, in my opinion. It ain't the lender. The bank, there's actually a law that says, it's a federal law that says the bank is not allowed to loan the money of its depositors. Oh. Okay. So that's what it says. So when you get done signing at the table and you leave, all those people, those bar members that was hanging around, they call themselves the tile office or whatever. Okay, when you leave, they do some stuff. They stamp pay to the order of on it. They turn that deed or whatever it is into security. It's like a check. And the vice president, usually of the bank or somebody, signs pay to the order of, yada, 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 some words at the bottom without recourse and some other stuff. And that's processed through the Federal Reserve for electronic credits. That's the source of the alleged loan times 9, according to Modern Money Mechanics. And that electronic deposit is deposited into a demand deposit account. So law actually says that you're not allowed to extend loans of credit. That's what it says. I read it. I'm old. Oh, you're not allowed to extend lines of credit. Oh, well, how they do it? The same way. Student loans, same way. There's no money that ever changes place. Well, there is money that changes place, but it's in the court system, and when it's over here, when they're jamming everybody up and taking your stuff, making you think that you're in a judicial court. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about there. GT, a syndicate loan. You know what? None of that. I don't need to look it up, man. I already know how this works. I have lawsuit packages that jam this stuff up. Okay. And what you're asking me to look up is words that they come up with to fit inside their conventional system. Well, I don't roll in their conventional system. And I don't do nothing with their conventional. I'm glad you know. Oh, thank you, Frederick. Welcome to the show tonight. So the next thing that we're going to be doing, I'm going to put together, it's going to be like an online course to thank you, GT. I appreciate it. Can I move on now? Okay. I appreciate it. Frederick, you're the first one that signed up for the webinar training, and I'll get you your code when we get the back half of it all set up and get everything linked up there together. Well, I'm glad it's not. And so what I'm doing right now is working pretty well, and we're still getting it done. So maybe you can add what you know in there. Thank you guys for the value of sharing your time tonight. We're going to just get on out here and go do something else. It's still early.